Welcome to Breakup Cheater. Let's get into today's story. You don't even see me anymore. That's how it started. Samantha slammed the refrigerator so hard, the magnets and a photo of us at the Grand Canyon clattered to the floor. Her voice was raw, her breath quick. She stood there in the middle of the kitchen, cheeks flushed, knuckles white from gripping the edge of the counter. This life, she said. This suffocating, boring routine you call a life, it's killing me, Nathan. I was still standing by the door, boots dusty from the workshop, keys in my hand. I didn't say anything. I'd learned that silence sometimes diffused the storm. But this wasn't a storm. This was the fire after the forest had already burned down. You wake up, drink your bitter coffee, fix engines, come home, heat up dinner, fall asleep in front of the news. And you call that living. I regret every single day I've wasted with you. There it was. She'd said harsh things before, but never with such finality. That line, it didn't strike me like a slap. It landed like dust settling after a collapse. Her lipstick was smudged. Her hair was wild. A half-finished glass of wine sat on the counter. I looked at her, then quietly pulled off my wedding ring. It slid off my finger like it had been waiting for this moment. I placed it on the table between us. Then let this be the last one, I said. She didn't speak. Didn't blink. Just stared at the ring like it was some relic from a life she didn't recognize anymore. I walked past her and stepped outside into the night. The air smelled like rain on dry pavement. My truck ticked quietly, its engine still warm from the drive home. That was the night I gave up trying to fix something that had already rusted through. We'd met 5 years earlier, at a 4th of July cookout my buddy Derek threw in his backyard. I remember the heat sticking to everything, the smell of grilled ribs, and the way she laughed, loud, full-bodied, like she didn't care who heard. Samantha wore a green sundress, drink in hand, sunglasses perched on top of her head like she belonged in a magazine. She walked straight up to me and said, "You look like someone who takes life way too seriously." "I'm just trying to survive Derek's potato salad," I said. She laughed, touched my arm like we'd known each other forever. She talked about her job in branding, how she hated small towns, wanted to move to a city, where things actually happen. I didn't talk much. She liked to fill the silence, and I let her. Within 2 months, she'd moved into my place. It was fast, maybe too fast, but back then, it felt like falling into something alive. She brought color, music, kiss. She'd dance barefoot in the kitchen while I tried not to burn breakfast. She convinced me to paint the living room, fight over couch pillows, buy plants I didn't know how to take care of. I didn't mind. It felt like she was pulling me out of a life I didn't realize had gone stale. But even early on there were signs. Once she looked around my place and said, "It's cute. Like a starter kit for adulthood." Starter for what? Yes. She just smiled and kissed me. But I should have listened. I thought she was challenging me to dream bigger. Turns out she was looking for the exit. The unraveling didn't happen in one big blowout. It was slow, like rust creeping through metal. First it was the skipped dinners, the late meetings, the unanswered texts, the wine glass on the counter when I came home to silence. Then came the distance, the way she'd walk past me without speaking, the eye rolls, the clipped responses. "You okay?" he asked once. "I'm tired." "Don't make it a thing." I stayed later at the garage, finding excuses to keep busy. Cleaning tools. Replacing parts that didn't need replacing. The hum of machines made more sense than her silence. Then came the contempt. "This house feels like a waiting room. You live like you're already dead. Your clothes, your truck, everything about you is beige." I stopped arguing. Not because I agreed, but because arguing felt like shouting into a canyon. Then came him. It was Derek, same buddy who hosted the barbecue, who showed up at my shop one afternoon and said, "Man, I hate to be the one to say this, but you know a guy named Aiden? Works at Sam's office." I wiped grease from my hands. "No. Should I?" Derek hesitated. "She's been seen around with him. Blah. Not work stuff. She's not being careful anymore." I didn't blow up. I didn't even flinch. But I heard the last screw fall out of the foundation. The next morning, while she was making coffee, I asked, "Who's Aiden?" She didn't turn around. "You're really going to start this?" "I think now's a good time," she sighed. "It's nothing. You're sleeping with him." She finally turned, eyes sharp, arms folded. "Does it matter?" I looked at her. "Yeah, it does. You're acting like this is about him. It's not. This is about you. About how small and predictable everything is with you. You never change. You never push back. You just exist." He nodded. Not because I agreed, but because I was done. That night I slept on the couch. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. I didn't think about her. Thought about me. What I'd stopped asking for. What I'd given up to keep the peace. By morning I had a plan. Called my lawyer, filed quietly. Called Derek next. "You coming to crash with me?" he asked. "No," I said. "I'm not leaving my house. I'm taking it back." And that's what I did. I cleaned out the garage. Cleared the junk room. Hung up my old guitar. Dusted off photos she'd buried in drawers. Fixed the porch light she said gave the house character, when it was really just broken. She noticed. "You're spending a lot of time avoiding me," she said one night. "I'm not avoiding you," I said. "I'm reclaiming." She didn't understand what I meant. I didn't explain. One rainy Sunday, she came into the kitchen like it was any other day. Said, "I'm meeting Aiden for drinks." No shame. No lie. "You didn't even bother to hide it this time," I said. A shrug. "What's the point? You and I are just coexisting." I stood, walked to the drawer, pulled out the folder. Divorce papers. Clean. Set them beside my coffee. Then removed my ring. "Let's not coexist anymore." She didn't say a word. I grabbed my coat. Walked out the front door. She didn't follow. And I didn't look back. 3 days later she moved out. No shouting. No drama. Just gone. I stood at the window watching her friend's car pull away. And for the first time in years, the house didn't feel like a cage. Felt like mine. Weeks passed. The days got shorter. The silence grew. But it was no longer hollow. It was peaceful. I started fixing things. Not for her. For me. Every repair was like a statement. I'm still here. And I matter. One night, I stopped at a diner just to hear human voices. That's where I saw her, Maya. Used to be a bartender at a place Samantha once dragged me to. She smiled. "You still drink your coffee like it wronged you." Chuckled. "Only when it deserves it." We didn't make plans. Just talked about nothing and everything. And when I left, I realized. Pulling into my driveway didn't feel like returning to an empty house. Felt like coming home. That night, I stood by the window, looked at the quiet street, the porch light warm and steady. Samantha once told me I was too simple. That I'd never be enough. She was right. I wasn't enough for her. But now I was finally enough for me. Thanks for watching Breakup Cheater. If you've ever been left behind, only to realize you were better off, drop a comment below. Was there a moment you stopped fighting for someone who gave up on you? Have you ever felt stronger after the silence came? What would you have done differently if you were Nathan? Let's talk about it.